now for the juvenile fillies to 14 of them across the track. Even Saint on their way. And of the dance on the outside, broke a little sideways, broke KK, but meanwhile it's going to be stopping but running on now, and Somali Lemonade's got 8 to make up. They come to the top of the lane, stop, Shopping Maria's got a lot left. Stop, Shopping Maria goes on, Sweet Cat is right there, hard left to right, Royal Body is running on. Past the 8 ball way comes, stop, Shopping Maria, full of runs to under a hand line as they come to the 16. Stephanie's Kitten coming out late. Yes, Stephanie's Kitten coming fast. Stephanie's Kitten, stop, Shopping Maria. Stephanie's Kitten's water. Watched the chances, broke smartly, but so did Terror from the Cape. On the inside, Sky Lantern, the grey going well. If he can get through, Sky Lantern, the grey looking for somewhere to run. Wide open. It's Terror from the Cape hanging on. Terror from the Cape tries to go all the way. On the outside now, here comes Flotilla in the light blue. Flotilla is absolutely flying. Watch the chances in there too. But Flotilla has gone right on by. And Flotilla is coming home to score. Flotilla has won it just about 2 in the end. It'll be Watch the Chances, Summer of Fun coming on to finish third.
Live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.
Good morning and welcome to the Handicappers Report on a gorgeous Sunday morning, live from Saratoga, right in front of Clare Court, and it really is sunny. The humidity has come back down to livable levels. Really a great day. Kind of as I come in right on the clubhouse turn, the street that ends right there, and the horses clearly loving it this morning. And we're loving it too, because this morning on the Handicappers Board, guest handicapper, happy to have him in, our friend Peter Thomas Fornatale. Pete, good morning.
Good morning to you, my friend. Wonderful to be here. You're not lying about this weather. This is just perfect stuff, Chamber of Commerce type stuff, and we've got an exciting card to go over.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see the horses right behind us enjoying things out here at Clare Court. Before we get into today, let's take a little look at yesterday, or some thoughts on yesterday. And in the Saratoga Special, I ran into Lee Einsiedler, who owns High Oak, before the Saratoga Special. And thank you, Lee, because he convinced me to throw High Oak into the mix at a 10-to-1 price. High Oak wins by over 4 lengths, and I have the buyer figures here. Comes up with a 90. This time of year for a 2-year-old, that's pretty solid. I like Gunite. That was my pick. I thought Gunite ran a solid second, well clear of third place finisher, but High Oak looked good. And I will say, Lee said, the further they go, the better this horse is going to like it, which makes it scary.
It's very interesting. Witt has held that position at the top of the division, and it's good to see some other performances that look like they're going to be ready to give him a race, and that was certainly the case, a race that came back strong, both visually and on the clock, and given the hands that this one is in, there's surely more under the hood.
Yeah, and as I said, he said he will like going a little bit further, so High Oak looking very good yesterday. In the the Saratoga Special. We'll see what's up next for him. But again, congratulations to Lee Einseidler, Bill Mott Jr., Alvarado on board. And a little bit later, it was fun because yesterday on the show I had Mark Cassian, I had Tyler Gaffalione on, and it's always fun when the guests in the morning wind up in the winner's circle in the afternoon, particularly in a grade one. Got Stormy. I think a lot of folks were thinking, maybe got Stormy a little bit over the hill. I had said, as I talked to people about this race, she came into this race last year off a 94 buyer in the poker and a 4th place finish. She was coming in off a 94 this year and a 5th place finish in the Jaipur. But last year off the 94, she came up here and bounced up to a 103 buyer and ran a good second behind the runaway Halliday. She had, of course, won this race 2 years back. And I just thought, I had her in the mix. I won't say I had her on top, but I had her in the mix off the past 2 performances, including that nice bump up last year. Yesterday, looking solid, a 104 buyer. She was impressive yesterday.
104, that's terrific.
Yeah.
Came back really strong on the clock. And you have to say, this is so appropriate to see the 4-star Dave won by Got Stormy, who's doing sort of a grade 1 mini imitation of 4-star Dave with all the huge runs up in Saratoga. I think it's possible, Seth, she likes Saratoga more than us.
Yeah, and Mark made that comment, and Gaffalione had been on her in a work, her second to last work, and he said, she clearly appreciates it here, and she's back, and that was clear yesterday. And it's one of those, I always say, the Saratoga fans are so knowledgeable. It's one of those, as she came back to the winner's circle, you can just see the appreciation from the fans. She's one of those, it's a great story, was sold last year, and Mark said he gets the phone call, oh, hey, we think we're going to run her again. Gaffalione said the same thing. He said, I thought I was saying goodbye to her, and they get a chance. And so for sports people that were willing to bring the horse back, it's great to see them rewarded with a grade 1 at Saratoga.
My racehorse making such an impact on the game. We saw that at the sales the other night. We see it on the racetrack on Saturday. Very busy winner's circle, and I like anything that's going to get new people into the game. So I'm very much in the pro camp of fractional ownership. And again, just great to see that success. And this was not a result that made me a penny. Quite the opposite, but it was still easy as a racing fan to cheer her home and in the winner's circle.
Yeah, there are some of those races like that at Saratoga every year where maybe it isn't good on the wallet, but it certainly feels good psychically to root some of these horses home. Also, yesterday, out at Arlington, the Mr. D, formerly the Arlington Million, and it was
two Emmys
on the front end all the way around. And the big favorite, Domestic Spending, made a nice late run. It was just a little bit too late. So at a price, 2 Emmys gets it done out there. Again, in a good-looking performance on the front end all the way around under James Graham.
How many times do we say it? It's an old cliche, but it's a cliche because it's true. Pace makes the race. In this case, I'm going to kind of go a little farther and say I believe it was a bit of a false race, given how slowly they went around there.
26, 52, 116 for the 3/4.
For me, Domestic Spending just couldn't quicken, and it was a brilliant ride by Graham that the bird had flown by the time Domestic Spending got running. You'd think on his class he would have run 2 Emmys down anyway. It didn't play out that way, but I don't think we learned too much. I think a bit of an anomaly, false pace kind of race, and certainly Domestic Spending looks very, very dangerous for his remaining targets this season.
Yeah, he made a great late run. I mean, the chart margin winds up to be a neck. He just ran out of time. But 2 Emmys, $56.20 over the chalky favorite. And you wound up with, if you box those two up, you wound up with $100 exacta with the chalky favorite underneath. So there was a little bit of value to be had. Speaking of value, you kind of alluded to yesterday and got Stormy, but how's your meet going?
It's been good. Caught one of the early pick sixes and have been riding off that. Haven't made much noise since, but hey, today's another day, and hopefully we're going to get stuck in and have a bunch of winners.
Yeah, turn the page. And we talked to you a little bit earlier in the meet, did a little feature on you and the podcast. Just remind people about the In the Money podcast and where they can find it and what's up during the week with the In the Money library of podcasts.
Yes, we got a whole network now, and no matter what aspect of the game you're interested in, you can find it on our site, from industry shows like In the Ring and Baby Talk and The Owner's Box to the flagship Players podcast, which runs twice a week, typically recapping weekend stakes action early week, doing some interviews, and then all manner of handicapping late in the week. You can find our shows wherever you get your podcast. The easiest thing to do is to subscribe to the main feed, In the Money Media, In the Money Players podcast, and then you can also check us out on our website, which is inthemoneypodcast.com.
Very good. Certainly, I highly recommend it. I know, Pete, you're a big follower of the contest scene, covering the contest. I didn't see the results of the Whitney Day, the big contest that was up here. Was it notable? Take that.
Yeah, there were some big performances. I've got the results in here somewhere. We can roll through them at some point.
Because, as I say, I didn't see it. Do you jump in? You do low rollers?
I love the low roller. Typically, I've been stretched for bandwidth in terms of being able to play, but I'm hoping to be able to do it before the meet is over. That's where I cut my teeth and really learned about contests, was in the old Santa Anita low roller contests out there that they used to do on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And I like to feel that my constantly talking about how much fun that is somehow led to them appearing here at Saratoga, and it's just a great way to get action all day, to learn a little bit about contests. Different format than a lot of them, but really a lot of fun and worth checking out.
Yeah, and speaking of that, the low roller is today. Every Thursday and Sunday up here, the low roller. And like you, I've probably played half of them so far. There's just been a couple of days where I just have been a little too busy and have gotten over there late. But I love the low roller. For $40, what they do is they'll take $10 out of that 40. You get a card that's worth $30. You play 5 $2 win, place, and show bets during the afternoon. Keep in mind, they never use the last race. You should keep that in mind. But you play those, and you keep all the money that's on your card. But if you accumulate more than other people, you win prize money as well. And it's a lot of fun. And I always tell people, it also helps your handicapping, because you have to think a little bit differently, search around for the value in there. Then you have to maybe strategically look at the board, whether you're leading or chasing, and kind of try to figure from there. And so, as I say, I think you have to approach it a little bit differently maybe than you do your everyday betting, which can tweak your handicapping in a good way.
It's a game within a game, and that's one of the things I love about it. And Jonathan Kinchin has my favorite quote about how contests helped his cash play, developing the muscle memory to find long shots. And I do have that leaderboard here from the Whitney Day contest. Michael Doheny was the overall winner, ran that bankroll up to 26,000.
Nice
Tour de
job.
force
Started
performance.
with 3, right?
Yeah.
3? Oh, nice.
Ken McMahon second, Christy Moore third, James Hurtham in fourth, and Phil Malzat in fifth. Some very impressive scores and some familiar names for those who follow the contest world. Shout out to Ken McMahon in particular. Been very fun seeing him up here in Saratoga.
Yeah, again, the big contest is always fun. I played in a couple of the bigger contests they've had up here. I had it 5 or 6 years ago. I was sitting top 10 pretty much all day. I had a nice score early in the day, and I was sitting 7 or 8 most of the day, and just kind of kept hitting enough to stay there. And then it got to, and they paid out to the top 10 spots. And the last race came along, and a couple of the veteran contest players took swings, and a couple of them, enough of them hit that I got knocked down to about, I think, 13th or something. But I wound up making about $1,500 playing during the day. So it was a lucrative afternoon as well. But it was a little bit disappointing to get knocked out of the top 10 at the end, which, again, if you play enough contests, you kind of realize that there's some strategy, particularly at the end, and some of these veteran contest players will take some swings as they approach the end of the contest.
That is the great thing about live bankroll play, that you get to walk away with that money on the roll, and it's still profitable. But yeah, it's never fun being the bubble boy.
Exactly. It's just outside of the money there. But again, the low roller today, you go over to the 4-Star Dave area, swing down there and sign up. It's a lot of fun. Trust me, you'll enjoy it. I've had a number of people over the years say, hey, I saw you talking about it. I tried it, thumbs up. I'm a regular now. And I guarantee if you go over and give it a shot, you'll enjoy yourself. Pete, you ready to take a look at today?
Let's do it, my friend.
All right, let's start out this Sunday afternoon. Again, a gorgeous Sunday up here at Saratoga. The opener today up here at Saratoga, maiden 40 claimers. They're going to go a quick 5.5. What you see in the opener?
I like John's protege best in this spot, the number 5. I thought that's a really interesting breeding cross for precocity with Tapiture and Speightstown. Obviously, Ward specializes in these spots, and there's some quick-looking works. I was going to mix in the 7 Skeptical and the 8 Salipo. Salipo's kind of a fun one to pause on for a second. Out of the famed Lisa's Booby Trap, who had that memorable win years ago up here in the Loudonville when my 15-year-old Labrador was a pup. And she's been productive as a broodmare too. 2 winners from 2 starters. One of them won on debut. Candy Ride does well first out. So I mostly was going to key around the 5, but mix in a little bit of the 7 with that experience edge and the 8 as well.
I like that you picked up Lisa's booby trap. Yeah, that was a fun story here a few years back with the small connections, and they had a live horse there. I went 5, 3, 2, and 1. I also put John's protege on top. By Tapiture this year, 65 first-time starters, 10 winners, 14 seconds, 9 thirds. So this is a win early type of a sire. The dam, as you say, there's win early breeding all around. The dam produced a sibling called Vikram. That one ran third here just this past Friday, but won its career debut back in May down at Delaware. It was an off the turfer at a mile. So I thought there was win early, top and bottom. And as you say, WW Wesley Ward can certainly have them ready for races like this. I put Good Skate underneath. Finished behind Stolen Base in the career debut. And I don't know if this one was necessarily flattered by that one. The performance yesterday in the Saratoga Special, Stolen Base ran 6th in there. So again, I'm not quite sure that flatters this one. But I like the maiden special weight to maiden claiming move as a potent class move. And Wesley Ward also has Baja Fog, the number 2 horse Gaffleone on board. Improved nicely in start number 2. The number, as a buyer guy, the number's maybe a little light. I'm not sure how light compared to this particular field, however, and that nice improvement in start 2 attracted me. And again, it's the other Wesley Ward in here. So for me, in the opener, 5, 3, 2, and 1.
We've got an all baby race double, which I love. Race number 2. These 2-year-old maiden colts going 1 mile and a 16th on the inner turf with 100,000 in the pot. Seth, how did you see it?
I have it 8, 7, 9, and 5. I have Street Vendor on top for Todd Pletcher. Nyquist is a sire of precocious runners. They certainly paid a lot of money for this horse at Keeneland last year, $500,000. There's a sibling called Bella Aurora. First 6 starts, 3 wins, a second and 2 thirds. So again, I thought there was some win early from the breeding and the trainer. I'll go with Street Vendor on top. I'm going to take a little pop with King of Sting at 10 to 1, just underneath. I love Jimmy Creed as a sire of precocious runners. This one did not live up to that in the debut, certainly, but there is a sibling called Frazzle. That one ran 8th in debut, but then won the second start. So let's see if this one can live up to the older sibling. Again, at a decent little 10 to 1 price with Irad Ortiz on board. And Kiss the Sky worked 10.1 before the auction back in March at Ocala. Came close to living up to that in the debut, running second at Ellis. Ellis, if you don't pay attention in the summer, the 2-year-old program at Ellis has become very, very potent. And so that Mike Maker started this one middle of July there and now elects to come over to Saratoga is notable. There's also a full sibling called Nice Not Nice. Ran 8th in the debut, won the second career start. So I thought Kiss the Sky a logical player in here as well. But I have a couple of I'll exact a box in here a little bit because I have 6 to 1 over 10 to 1 in my top 2 slots, 8, 7, 9, and 5.
It's an open race, that's for sure,
Yeah.
as evidenced by the fact that I came up with 3 and only 1 is the same as the 4 that you mentioned, but it's that kind of race.
Yeah.
For me, I put the 10 Flip the Script on top. Interesting turf potentially on the blood being by Temple City. I've been using this new tool, Equine Edge, that has this genetic strength rating as part of the algorithms in the program, and Flip the Script comes out well on there. Showed speed sprinting on dirt, should be prominent in this spot. I wanted some 10s on the ticket. Second, I was with you with Kiss the Sky. Similar profile to the top pick, though this one's dirt run was a route, caught money. You trust Maker implicitly. You made the point about the Ellis 2-year-olds being, nothing to sneeze at. Kiss the Sky, not just for Jimi Hendrix fans, as far as I'm concerned. And I also mixed in the 6, Never Say No. A little bit more exposed comparatively, but maybe I was thinking this one could go better with an off-the-pace run. The bloodlines are certainly notable. 10-9-6 for me to close out this early double.
I did not pick up on that, but if anybody's going to pick up on that, you would. The Jimi Hendrix reference, I did not. And I will also say, Flip the Script. I had some check marks there just because as we've gotten into the meet now, one of the first things I look at, who's Luis Saez on board? And I don't like to leave him out, and so I may kick myself that I did leave Flip the Script out with Saez on board. Kieran McLaughlin has been doing a great job handicapping races for Saez.
Sometimes you let the top jockeys and their agents do a little bit of work for you. That would have paid off yesterday at Arlington as well.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Third at Saratoga on this Sunday afternoon, $40,000 conditional claimers. They're on the turf at 5.5.
I went with number 10, Herald Angel in this spot. Has shown the ability to pass horses. I thought could get a very nice stalking trip. The cutback and the drop could be what the doctor ordered. I was going to have some twos as well with fuddled, usable on some of the old turf sprinting figures. This is another runner getting a much needed drop in both distance and grade. And then the 6, High School Crush, I had in there as well as potentially a price to include. I think you could ignore the dirt run and then give a little bit of extra credit to the race 2 back, and noting that she ran well up here last year. I thought that High School Crush might be able to get in the mix at what I'm hoping will be double-digit odds.
10-1 with Saez on board again. So another one I left. As I say, when I look handicapping now, I want to pull the Saez horses in because they've just been running so well. But another one I left out of the mix. But I had the same top selection: 10, 4, 5, and 3. What I like about the 10 Herald Angel, over the years, goes back to at the old Teletheater in Albany. There was a period where I was doing kind of an internet show that you could catch on the Capital OTB website, and I would be in there every afternoon handicapping, and I picked up on this angle then. State-bred allowance into open claimers, and that was before there were open conditional claimers, so the angle is even more potent now. But state-bred allowance into an open claimer, it just, over the years since I picked up on it, has been very potent, and you can often wind up with a price. This one's 92 on the morning line, so we're not going to get a huge price here. But it's an angle that, as I say, very potent. Just watch throughout the course of the meet and beyond. But I like the angle here, class-wise. So Herald Angel on top. Defy expectations. Plenty of early speed for Brittany Russell. If you don't pay attention to some of the other jurisdictions, Brittany Russell coming in for the Mid-Atlantic, where she has just been red hot over the past 6 months, year or so. And, she's had a limited number of starters up here, but has done okay so far. This one, I think, is going to fit nicely at this level with the early speed, becomes potent and dangerous. And Little Dutch Girl, another one making the class move that I talked about, just doesn't quite have the record there that I would like. Herald Angel, there's at least a couple of starts at the state-bred allowance, but then was in some stakes races as well. So that one is a little more potent with the angle I like. This one comes out of a maiden breaker and debut, then moved into state-bred allowance and ran poorly, now goes into an open claimer. So it's the angle I like, but I like a little more of a resume normally than this. But I'm still going to land on the Clement runner as being a player in there, as I think the class will prevail a little bit. Put this one in the hunt. 10, 4, 5, and 3 for me in the third.
Race number 4, we've got 3 and up New York bred allowance types going 6 furlongs on the dirt. And I think the key question here, Seth, that I'll let you answer, are we with Water's Edge, the presumptive heavy favorite, or are we going to try to take a shot?
I went with Water's Edge. I'll be interested to see what you do, and I'm going to be interested to see what the betting public does. I think the betting public it just focuses so much these days. You did too, and I think they focus so much on buyers that I think this horse will be a very chalky price. But I'm not going to knock anybody who's a little bit skeptical, and I'll when I throw it to you, I'll get your thoughts on if you're playing horizontals, would you lean on this one or spread a little bit? And my only question with a horse like this is, off of that last buyer, clearly has the edge on this field, but it's only the one. There was a horse like this yesterday that had kind of paired up these kind of aberrant buyers, and so then it wasn't an aberration. You knew the horse could pair them up. This one, was that just a weird number, or is this horse capable of it? Did this horse move more to what we can expect from the career in the second career start? I'm going to hope that's the case. I just couldn't get past that big 92 buyer maiden breaker last time. So I'm going to land on the Dave Donk horse. Devil's Code in the second spot for Mike Maselli, off of some numbers that I think once you get past that big number on my top pick, I think the numbers for Devil's Code fit nicely in here. And then in the third spot, I have Quick Flash, also tossing some numbers that I think, comparatively speaking, fit nicely. So once you get past that big number, I think the field becomes very competitive. And as I say, I would have to decide, and maybe look at some of the other races in the sequence and see how deep I wanted to go there, what I was going to do here. But I kind of have a feeling with only the one big number, if I'm putting together the pick 5 or pick 4 ticket, I may at least pull Devil's Code into the mix and hope for a little bit of an upset to really juice up the price, because Water's Edge will take a little action. I have it 1, 3, 5, and 6. How'd you see it?
I see it very similarly. I think that Water's Edge is a strong press for me in this early pick 5, but I don't think I need to necessarily go stone cold, but probably the kind of thing where 85-90% of the money will run through this number. Part of it, and part of why I think this one is going to move forward again, is just the hands that he's in. David Donk, when his first-time starters show ability like this one did, they're typically going to continue to incrementally improve. I feel like he often will train/race them into shape. I think there could be another forward move, and if there is, Water's Edge is going to bury this field. But Devil's Code feels like one to keep on side, at least for a little bit. I felt that Devil's Code was against the flow of the race a little bit last time and looks the likely beneficiary should too fast of a pace appear. And I might just have a nickel on Saratoga Pal, the 4. Looked like one that might be able to pick up pieces, run into the number, second time off the layoff. More for verticals, but I could see having, maybe one stray line through the 4 as well. But I'll be sitting pretty, I would imagine, with Water's Edge if we can get through this leg of the pick 5.
I'm glad you mentioned Saratoga Pal. I didn't put him in my mix, but you look at that September race last year with the 88 buyer and the 2 exacta finishes and 2 starts on the track. There may be a little horse for a course angle here. I think he will get overlooked coming in from Finger Lakes last time, and I think there will be a little bit of value there, and I wouldn't argue with playing around with that one as well. All right, we'll head to a break. When we come back, more from this Sunday card here at Saratoga. Stay tuned.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Where's the best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drink specials, and wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 75 flat-screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you, where's the best sports bar in the capital region? Tell them Legends Field Sports Bar, inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Welcome back to the Handicapper Support live from Saratoga on a gorgeous Sunday morning. Seth, Merrow, Pete Fornatale, and we will jump back in. Race number 5 this afternoon, maiden special 2-year-old fillies, and they will go 3/4 of a mile.
I like the 4, Jester Calls No Joy, in this spot by the outstanding first-up sire, McLean's Music. A strong work tab. Todd Pletcher needs no introductions. Very interested in this runner. I also thought that the 9 Celestial made sense, appeared to work very well the other day, and has a precocious pedigree, solid firster sire in Quality Road, and out of a dam that's dropped 3 winners from 3 starters, 2 of whom won at 2. The other number I was going to include is the 5, Midnight Stroll, another one of these debut sires that I always like to keep on side in Not This Time, and has a flashy 5 furlong work the other day. I always like to see that. 4, 9, and 5 for me, but I feel like this is another race where you could get creative.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised we have the same top selection, because I have 6 open here. I have it 4, 6, 2, and 5. I thought the 3 and 1 were playable. As you talked about the 9, I thought, man, maybe I should have put that in, but I'm 7 deep. But I will say about your 9, Bill Mott, over the past 2 or 3 months, he's been okay with first-time runners, first-time starters, and I don't know whether people necessarily think of him in that way, but don't discount him up here with those kind in these 2-year-old races. But yeah, I also ended on Jester Calls No Joy. For the same reasons you did, I think. McLean's music over the past, or so far this year, 47 first-time starters, 9 wins, 7 seconds, 6 thirds. So very live first time out of the box, as he has been for a couple of years now. Todd Pletcher trains, so you have a win early sire, a win early trainer. And that's the kind of thing I like to look up in these 2-year-old races. And otherwise, there wasn't really anything jumping off breeding-wise. The siblings weren't necessarily win early for any of these that pulled me in the direction otherwise, so there was just enough there to go with the number 4. I used Positive Sum in the second spot. Speaking of win early sires and just overall fabulous sires, Into Mischief on top. They paid just under $250,000. It's Chad, it's Klarovich. Just that team attracts me up here at Saratoga with first-time 2-year-olds. And experience does count. And so by Tapiture, Tap and Glow, off a couple of nice and a couple of improving efforts for Brad Cox, I think has to be considered as well. I'm going to be interested to see where the betting public lands in this race, because I think it is a race that, again, I'm 6 deep in here and didn't include the one you have in your mix, Celestial, and I certainly could make a case there, but I could probably Constitution, the sire of Union Dolly. Chad Brown trains the 8 horse. As I say, I'm going to be very intrigued where the betting public goes. And this is one of those races. I'll get your opinion. A lot of people at Saratoga, if you have a 2-year-old who's just maybe a little off the radar, and you look up at the board, and all of a sudden, maybe on the morning line it was 8-1, and now it's 12-1 or 15-1. If there's enough there, I jump in. A lot of people think, oh, cold on the board. I'm going to jump in. For me, the more potent thing up here at Saratoga is if you have a horse who's 3-1 or 4-1, you look up at the board and all of a sudden they're 7-5. If they go the other way up here, then I take an extra notice.
There's definitely signal in reading the tote, but it's much more of an art than a science, and it's only one piece of the puzzle. If I have an angle I like on pedigree, I'm not going to mind if a horse from lower profile connections is a little bit theoretically cold on the board. But it's funny, you see all kinds of things. The Pletcher Baby, that won yesterday, there were positive stories around about that horse. Yeah. Technically cold on the board, runs off the screen. You know, it's so you got to be careful. You can put yourself away if you're not careful. And then in that same race, the well-touted and heavily bet Asmussen Firster ends up not really showing up at all. That's one that I'm going to try to keep on side, though. Sometimes with that betting signal, even if you don't use that information on the day, when that horse comes back, maybe with more ground, I'm going to have that one on side in that situation, because there is signal in this. It's just a question of how and when you deploy it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I not only understand, I completely agree.
Shall we move on to race number 6?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. We've got 3 and up New York bred filly and mares going 5.5 on the turf. Seth, how do you see this one?
I have it 1, 2, 3, and 6. I write this down on top. Mike Dubb, Rob Atras off the claim. Atras very good off the claim. And so just that angle was enough to pull me in this direction. I think the numbers are pretty comparable with the rest in this field. So then you add in that off the claim for, clever claiming connection. Second spot, I went with Prairie Tales. Has been facing this kind of company for the first 2 starts of the season. I thought nice improvement, start 1 to start 2. Now the third start back might be primed for kind of a breakthrough effort. Black Licorice also gets some consideration for me. 5-1 on the morning line. Be interested to see what we get odds-wise when they spring the gate, however, because the first start clearly wasn't much. There was maybe a little bit of trouble in there. It was also last year. So what I'm looking at is little time off, comes back with maybe that added maturity from a 2-year-old to a 3-year-old. They come back at the reduced level, so I think this horse could be a player. I would certainly want, that 5-1 or maybe a tick or 2 higher. I wouldn't want too short of a price on this one, although maybe a short price, as we were talking, maybe if it dings down enough, that's going to say a little something. But for me, I have it 1, 2, 3, and 6.
Definitely an open-looking affair for me, but we have some of the same numbers in the mix, including number 6, Candy Monet, who I ended up putting on top, close to the pace the last day in a race marred by a spill. Ended up blowing the turn, but I still think that experience can help maybe move this one forward, and this feels like an easier group than the last day. The 4, Orma, had a little bit of a trip off the break last time. you key off the race 2 back, I think you could put Orma in the mix, and you made the case for Black Licorice already. To me, just taking the drop into maiden claimers for Maker, usable on that basis alone. I had it 6-4-3, but definitely a race where you can come up with something clever, I think.
Speaking of clever, I love the Candy Monet. By Painter out of Judy's Fudge. Gotta love that.
That's good.
Gotta love that. All right, the 7th race this afternoon, optional claimer, non-winners of 1 condition. They will travel 9 furlongs on the turf.
I like the 5 Mira Mission best. This one's been knocking at the door, and I thought had a chance to break through in the second start of the meet. We've seen that age-old excellent angle pay dividends, the race over the surface. The 8 Treason attended a hot pace while wide last time. I thought would get a better trip in the second try against winners. And then the 7 Never Explain beat the top pick last time. Those kind of collateral form lines are something that I try to pay attention to. And I thought Never Explain could appreciate the added ground on the blood, according to that genetic strength rating from Equinedge I mentioned before.
I have it 7, 5, 8, and 13. The 13 is the first horse on the AE list, so if there's a scratch, I won't get in. If that one doesn't, you can take a look at the 12 and the 11. None of those will be benefited by outside post positions, however, but kind of the middle of the field, I have Never Explain on top. Lightly raced, excuse me, for Shug, and that maiden breaker, a nice little closing effort. Sometimes these horses will take a start or two to figure out the next level, and this horse just missed at this level last time, so got some good experience against these types, so I'll tilt in that direction. Mirror Mission, who you had on top, I have right underneath, and as you said, these two, Never Explain and Mirror Mission, were right next to each other last time out. So if I like one, kind of have to throw the other in the mix. And Treason, Bill Mott runner that is very lightly raced, looks solid in the career debut win. And then the comeback wasn't as much finishing position-wise. The number was comparable to this bunch. And again, maybe got some education at the non-winners of 1 other than level that will be beneficial later this afternoon. So I think that one also a player. I have it 7, 5, 8, and 13. And again, if the 13 doesn't make it in, the 12 and the 11 can be taken a look at.
The final pick 3 of the day kicks off in race number 8, 3 and up filly and mare, $16,000 claimers, going 7 furlongs on the dirt. What do you like in here?
4, 7, 5, and 2 for me. I went with Mongolian Humor. It's Robertino Diodoro off the claim, and I think Diodoro is having a very good meet. Came in from out of town at some point into New York, and like a lot of high percentage guys, took a while to get going in New York, but he's having a really good Saratoga season. So this one off the claim for a good off the claim trainer who's having a good meet, not only for trainer Robertina Diodoro, but for owner Robertina Diodoro as well. I had him in here early in the meet as he kicked things off and just kept rolling. So Mongolian Humor on top for me. Second slot, I will go with Absolute Love off the claim for Robertras. Again, good off the claim trainer. And this one comes in like Mongolian Humor off a win last time. So both of these horses in good form, claimed for good off the claim trainers. And Veradia in the 3rd spot. Just seems to be in some good, maybe improving form over the last 3 starts. And class-wise, I think is going to stack up nicely with this group despite moving up a little bit off the last race. But as I say, I think we'll fit 4, 7, 5, and 2.
Very similar once again. I went with Absolute Love on top, thinking maybe gets the best trip of the runners signed on in here. I could see a stalk and pounce journey working out well, and you already talked about the Atras numbers off of the claim. That's why I ended up going in this direction. One number that you didn't mention I thought was a little bit interesting was the 2 Subsidiary. Figures to be close to the front on pace figures and had some excuses for recent runs with a bit of a wide run the last day, a bad break, 2 back, maybe with a clean run through. Subsidiary can get up into the number. And then 4, Mongolian Humor, your top pick. 2 good runs at the meet already. Switch to Diodoro. You already mentioned how well he does with his new acquisitions. 7, 2, and 4 for me to kick off this final pick 3 of the day.
Both of the top 2 of mine, Absolute Love and Mongolian Humor off the claim. The claim box has been kind of on fire up here at Saratoga.
Been wild.
Yeah.
A whole lot of shaking going on.
Yeah, exactly. And there are literally a lot of shakes because I'm up in the press box, and after races they will announce, hey, this one was claimed so many shakes. And so, yeah, the claim box is very, very popular up here at Saratoga. All right, we will take another break. We'll come back, stakes action, and the final daily double of the day. All of that right after this. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the West. I'm Scott Varley at Saratoga's latest and greatest high-rise luxury condo. Starting in the mid-fives, every condo here has 2 bedrooms and 2 baths and upgrades just like this. Check out these oversized private balconies. We also have a gym, a private lounge, and get this, a heated parking garage. To make a reservation for your private condo at the West, call or text me. I'm Scott Varley at 518-281-6808.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. It is Sunday morning, August 15th. Where did the summer go? It's already August 15th.
Don't take my summer from me just yet. We've got like 3 weeks left.
Yeah, there's 3 weeks left, which is nice. I mean, in the day when I first became a fan, there was 4 weeks of Saratoga, so we now have some extra time. And it was fun this week to have the sales back as well. I always tell people, if you only make one trip to Saratoga during the summer, do it during sales week. Either hang after that weekend or start your week early, because that is a crazy social scene over there, and it's just a lot of fun to go over and take advantage of that.
It was wild. Such good vibes having everybody back. The sale was busy, fantastic stuff, and I completely agree. If you have one time to come for the Whitney, I'd say. Hang around, and you got the added benefit of being around for my birthday, usually.
Very good. Happy birthday. That's what I saw that on Twitter.
I'm milking it.
You got to. You got to. I will also say, for folks who didn't make the sale, the New York Bridge sale is a lot of fun, too. The crowd's a little slimmed down, but not much over the past few years, and the weather's going to be great. That's tonight and tomorrow night over there. So if you want to swing by the Basic Sales Pavilion, and if you're not familiar, it's literally 2 blocks down East Avenue from the racetrack. Worth coming over for that as well. All right, feature race today at Saratoga. Race number 9, the Galway, $120,000, and that's up here in New York State. That's how we say it, Galway. I've had a number of people this week say Galway, and it's like, nah, it's up here.
Houston Street.
Up here, it's Galway. Exactly.
Versailles, Kentucky.
Exactly.
Galway. I still messed that one up, though. I will say Galway from time to time.
As I say, I've heard that probably 12 times this week. But the Galway, $120,000, 5.5 on the grass.
I like the 2 Tuscan Queen in this spot. This is a runner who I thought was visually impressive and on the clock the last day, and appeared to finish with something up the sleeve. I think this is a progressive type who can improve again in this spot. Speaking of musical references, number 6, the great John Prine, Illegal Smile, should be able to pull together a perfect stalk and pounce trip. I wanted to have in the mix. And then the 7, Going Good, who I see as your top pick. I had this one as a flow move up, coming out of the last, getting on to the best surface. This is a race where I'd like to use all 3 of these in my horizontals.
Yeah, I was about to say, when you had the 7 at the bottom and I had the 7 at the top, and we've kind of flipped around ours, I could have done exactly what you. My level of confidence is about equal on all 3 of these, but I tilted slightly for Going Good just because she is going good. A couple of wins down at Churchill, came up here and won the Off the Turf Coronation Cup earlier in the meet, but the turf form is very good. So again, on the current form for Brad Cox, I'll put that one on top. But again, it's tepid as compared to the other couple as well. Tuscan Queen, lightly raced, good improvement start 1 to start 2, solid number in the maiden breaker for John Kemmel. Jose Ortiz sticks on board, and Illegal Smile in the 3rd spot. Again, it's Wesley Ward with a turf sprinter, which I think we all feel is kind of his specialty. And this one has lived up to it. And I think turf sprinting overall is kind of a specialty. So whenever I get in these races, I'm looking for horses that have done it. All of these have run well in turf sprints. And again, with Wesley Ward being attached to Legal Smile, no arguments there. There are a couple others I could point to and probably have equal confidence. It's that kind of a race, which makes it a fun race and potentially a good betting race. But for me in the ninth, 7, 2, 6, and 5.
Race number 10 is our nightcap. We're all out of picks to start. We're down to the old pick one. We've got 3 and up, filly and mare, $40,000 claimers going 1 1/16 on the inner. Seth, how are we going to get paid?
It's the old get-out race, and I've had a couple of decent little get-out races over about the past week and a half or so where I've hit a couple of triples in the last race that helped make me happy for the day. Also, that loads you up for the next day. You win early, yet you stand the chance of having that go the wrong way. If you win late, you get dinner and you still have some money to bet the next day. So we'll see how it works out. But for me in the finale today, 3, 6, 5, and 10. 3, 6, 5, and 10. Summer in the City on top. This horse has tried the claiming ranks once before. Was in a maiden 50 in April of last year. Ran decently. Since then has been in maiden special weight and starter allowances. This is the 3rd start back. They drop in for the tag. I think this horse class-wise is going to class up nicely with this group this afternoon. In the 3rd start back, that was significant as well. So I'll tilt towards Summer in the City. Amortization in the 2nd spot, as the name would indicate. It's Chad Brown and Klarovich. Another one on a class move that I think is going to be live. 2nd start of the season. The Maiden Breaker was certainly one you can kind of hang your hat on. That was in December of last year at Aqueduct. The lone start this year was a little bit disappointing, and then in only the 4th career start to drop in for the tag, maybe you have to scratch your chin a little bit. But again, with these connections, I had to put that one in the mix. And Maribel May in the 3rd spot. Plenty of experience and only 1 win in 11 starts. But I thought this horse stacked up nicely with this particular group, so I had to include her as well. 3, 6, 5, and 10 for me.
I put Mirabelle May, the 5, right on top, thinking that she'd get a perfect setup in a race where I thought there was plenty of speed to set up a late run. You make a very fair point about not exactly a win machine, but I think hopefully pace will make the race, and it may land in the lap of Mirabelle May. I also like, and I swear, I don't pick these horses just because of the musical references. So you might think we got the Lovin' Spoonful in the house with number 3, Summer in the City. Could be set for a peak effort, dropping out of what I thought looked to be a decent race. And then the 3rd start off the bench, another angle that I like for the 3, Summer in the City. One runner you didn't mention, who I will, is the 4, Kubi Snacks. Not too far behind the top ones on figures, and I thought could also get the right kind of trip to be left in the mix. Hopefully, we can hit all these late picks, 5, 3, 4, and we'll throw your 6 in there as well.
Very good. So that wraps up the Sunday card. As I say, it is a gorgeous day up here. If you're planning to come to the track, do not change your plans because you are going to enjoy it today. After really a week of humidity, the humidity kicked down a little bit yesterday and was a little more comfortable. But Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it was sauna-like up here. Yesterday, as I say, got a little bit, but today, gorgeous day.
Absolutely gorgeous. You could be in a coat and tie, no problem whatsoever today. I'm actually going to be covering for Sky Sports Racing. I'm going to be in the home studio, sort of regretting the decision. I'd call in sick, but once I've been seen on here, that spot's going to get blown up pretty quick. So I won't get to enjoy it over there. But if you have the opportunity, get yourself to Saratoga today. This is just going to be one of those perfect days, and looking forward to hopefully a great last few weeks of the meet.
Yeah, we still have plenty of time. I alluded to we're in the middle of August already, but there's still plenty of racing time left. And so get up if you haven't been up already. I did a piece a couple of weeks ago on the museum, which is right across the street. Again, for people who aren't familiar, we talked about the New York bread sale tonight, tomorrow night. Come up for that and enjoy that. But also, if you haven't been to the museum, got to take advantage of that. Have you been over and seen the new movie?
I haven't seen the new movie. I hear it's great. I absolutely love the museum. It's a great spot. A lot of the sports history captured right there. Something fantastic to do, whether you're here during the meet or something to point to for an off season. And they have some cool events there as well. Check out the calendar. I really am a big fan of that museum.
Yeah, we just have a minute left before we go to the play of the day. You mentioned Sky Racing, and we talked when we interviewed you earlier in the meet about your relationship there, and we were talking off the air. You do some handicapping for that organization overseas, and I asked you if Saratoga is big, and not surprisingly, it's big here, it's big there too.
It's an international brand. American racing is on at a great time in the UK. It's fantastic. We have a great interaction with the audience on those shows. And yeah, Saratoga means something all around the world. And I always encourage people, they say, what meeting should I come to? What's the best track in America? I say there's many different ways you can go with that question. I will typically point people to the Breeders' Cup, but I'll also say if you can only pick one, make it Saratoga.
Yeah, and Joe O'Brien took advantage of that in the Saratoga Derby last week, coming over and getting it done. The O'Brien family, for folks who don't follow international racing, Joe, son of Aidan O'Brien, who is, I always say, to give the analogy or the comparison to American racing fans, a Todd Pletcher or Chad Brown of the UK is Aidan O'Brien. His son Joe O'Brien came over last week and took down the $1 million Saratoga Derby. And I was reflecting a couple of days later when I was on the air. Started his career as a jockey. It's hard to believe when you see him now. He quickly outgrew it, but he was a pretty good jockey for the brief time he rode.
Breeders' Cup winner. To have a Breeders' Cup winner as a jockey and a trainer, they're Irish horse racing royalty, and definitely names we're going to see a lot more of in the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, it was fun to see him over in the winner's circle. He was over at the sales earlier this week as well. Before we go to the play of the day, let me just remind you, there is a show pool bankroll today. Go to the website. I think you still have time to get on the bankroll team. Check out capitalotb.com for the show pool. And down at the Clubhouse Racebook today, there's a pick four and a match bet promotion. That all happening in the Clubhouse Racebook on this Sunday afternoon. All right. We'll take a break. When we come back, the DePaula play of the day with our friend Anthony Stabile. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Albany County, an incredible destination to live, work, and play, with easy connections to more than a dozen cities from our vibrant modern airport. It's a short trip downtown to a hive of culture and amusement, from world-class shows at the newly renovated Times Union Center to reliving the past at the New York State Museum. From outdoor recreation to shopping to nightlife, Albany County has something for everyone. We'll see you soon.
Birdstone is an outside threat. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. But here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Bob. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a three-horse photo finish to the top. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
The Capital Region has some of the most sophisticated horse racing fans in the country. That's why Capital OTB built the Clubhouse Racebook. Here you can wager year-round on the best horse racing from around the world. The Clubhouse also has monthly promotions including live bankrolls, handicapping contests, and so much more. Like sports? Watch your favorite teams on more than 30 screens in Legends Field Sports Grill. Food, sports, and the excitement of championship horse racing only at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
At DePaula, we think of our customers as family, so we want your experience to be fair and easy. Family owned since 1980, DePaula means quality and convenience, along with concerned and certified technicians. So come join the family and thank DePaula for all your automotive needs. At DePaula, we think of our customers as family, so we want your experience to be fair and easy. Over $2 million in original factory parts means you receive the very best for any make or model. So come join the family and thank DePaula for all your automotive needs.
It's post time for today's DePaula Play of the Day.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report, and the end of the show means it's time for the DePaula Play of the Day. This morning, our friend Anthony Stabile on board. Anthony, good morning.
Good morning, fellas. A little PTF sighting on a Sunday here at the spa. Love it, love it.
Guest handicapper, and he slid right in and doing a great job this morning on the Handicappers Report. But we'll get your handicapping today because you're doing a great job with the plays of the day as well for the bankroll team that joined at the start of the season, and for folks who just want to jump in and get some thoughts. And today, you're going to take a look at the 7th race, optional claimers on the grass. What do you have in race 7 for us?
Well, you know, since we won our freedom here up in Saratoga, I would think Treason would be an appropriate name for a horse running at Saratoga this afternoon. I love this horse's trip last time for Hall of Famer Bill Mott, who's having a fantastic meet. Really starting to heat up. 2 nice wins yesterday. Speaker's Corner looked great off the layoff. High Oak, congratulations to my man Lee Einsiedler. Looked really good taking the Saratoga Special. This horse was wide around there last time from post 7. He gets post 8 today, but I don't know. I thought the cut in the ground didn't help. I thought the trip didn't help last time. He gets back to firm ground today. Hopefully he gets a little bit of a better trip. He's a nice price, too. 6-1 on the morning line. Let's be true to the red, white, and blue today. No treason. We want some treason today, though.
Very good. And you mentioned Lee. Lee is one of our guests coming up on Loose on the Lead in a few minutes. I see him out in the green room, literally the green room, out on the grass out there. Give me your thoughts yesterday. High Oak, and boy, how about Got Stormy coming back and looking good? A true Saratoga lover.
She's remarkable. Right, beating the boys twice in 3 years in that Grade 1 4-star day. Fantastic effort again yesterday. She's like the Madonna of horse racing. She's reinvented herself so many times. She was a miler, then she became a sprinter, then she was sick of sprinting, so now she's a miler again. You gotta love those. Like I said, listen, personally and professionally, Lee Einsiedler is one of the best people in the game. He puts his money up. And he puts his money up, as we all very well know. If you saw that, it double paid yesterday, Speaker's Corner of High Oak. Listen, Lee, Mott, they all thought the horse wanted more ground. He showed it yesterday. And the way he ran yesterday, he looks like he wants even more ground than that. So he's excited. I think he got a 90 buyer speed figure yesterday. Always rooting for Lee, but really hoping High Oak can be the one for him.
Yeah, as I say, we have him coming up next, so people can stay tuned for that. Anthony, appreciate it. Good luck this afternoon.
You too, guys. PTF, good seeing you.
Cheers, my friend.
All right, the DePaula Play of the Day with Anthony Stabile. All of that brings us to the end of the Sunday Handicappers Report. Pete, it was fun.
Great time. Hopefully we gave out a bunch of winners, and always a pleasure to spend some time with you on air, especially on a beautiful Saratoga morning like this one.
Appreciate it. Peter Thomas Fornatale, guest handicapper on this Sunday edition of Handicappers Report. We will wrap it up, but coming up top of the hour, my man Steve Bick is in the house. Lee Einsiedler ready to come on set as well. Loose on the Lead is up next. Stay tuned.
You've been watching the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.